Okay, let's move on with the threats of globalization to law enforcement. So, ano yung mga panganib na pinapangambahan na maaaring maka-apekto sa ating pagpapatupad ng batas sa pandaigdigan? Okay, number one is increasing volume of human rights violations evident by genocide or mass killing. So, lumulobo yung human rights violation kung saan maraming mass killing na nangyayari, which is recently, ang pwede nating may example is yung Ampatuan Massacre, kung saan maraming namatay na media personalities at saka civilian. Number two is the privileged gain unfair access to global mechanisms on law enforcement and security, which is the example is yung mga nasa mababang antas ng kanilang pamumuhay is mahirap silang makakamit ng hustisya at saka ng kaligtasan when in times na kailangan nila ng security. Number 3 is conflict between nations. So there is a conflict. As an example of this is for example ang China at saka ang Philippines, conflict between the borders katulad ng South China Sea, which is the Scarborough Shoal na pinag-aagawan. The number 4 is transnational crimes networks for drug trafficking, money laundering, terrorism. So is itong transnational and crimes networks yung may mga linkages between bands of criminals or yung tinatawag nating criminal activities, which mayroon tayong drug trafficking, money laundering, and terrorism. Okay, there is also an opportunities for law enforcement. Mayroon ding naitutulong na maganda ang globalization. Okay, creation of international tribunals to deal with human rights problems. For example, yung human rights, international human rights, humanitarian intervention that can promote universal norms and link them to the enforcement power of states. For example, mayroon tayo kakailanganin ng Pilipinas ng tulong mula sa ibang countries in terms sa pagpapatupad ng batas ng forces. So madali na lamang makakakuha because of the alliances. Number 3 is transnational professional network and cooperation against transnational crimes. So, ang halimbawa nito is yung international police or tinatawag nating Interpol, wherein different countries were merged para gumawa ng sariling international police. Number 4 is global groups for conflict monitoring and coalitions across transnational issues. When we say global groups for conflict monitoring, there is a katulad halimbawa nung may peace panel, peace process, MILF at saka ang Government of the Philippines, kung saan maraming bansa ang nakilahok. Halimbawa na lamang ng Malaysia, mayroon silang mga representatives na mga officials to different law enforcement agencies. Okay, we also have comparative law enforcement. So this one, be careful of the terminologies used in this definition. We have historical comparative method, which is sometimes called historiography or holism. So we always remember these words kasi maaaring lumabas sa board examination. Okay, we have 8 ways to do history. So, mga paraan para malaman natin kung ano yung pinagmulan, kung paano na-create ang isang batas, ang isang law enforcement policies, procedure. So, ang una is the great man approach. Sinasabi natin, itanong mo doon sa nakakaalam, for example, yung mga ninuno natin, kung sinong nag-formulate. For example, the number 2 is the historical forces approach. So, based on generation to generation, because of the historical forces, kung saan halimbawa sa Philippines, mayroon tayong nagmula ang Philippine Constabulary, diyan nagmula ang PNP, tapos lumabas ang Integrated National Police, pagkatapos na-create ang Philippine National Police. So, yun yung historical forces approach. The crisis of civilization approach. So, sa civilization, makikita natin kung paano nag-evolve ang policing system sa Pilipinas from the time of mayroon tayong Kalantiaw, halimbawa, tapos dumating ang Spaniards, kung saan meron silang tinatawag na sa mga conquistadores, yung term nila sa police is Guardia Civil. Okay? So number 4 is the dialectic approach. So which means ang ibig sabihin nitong dialectic approach, so paano na-create ang words. An example of this is, halimbawa, napapanood niyo sa mga movies, there is an encryption. Halimbawa, yung mga sa forces, para hindi maintindihan ng kalaban through radio, kasi nakukuha nila yung mga password. So, gagamit sila ng lingwahe na hindi alam nung kanilang kalaban. So, number 5 is the evolutionary approach, which is the evolution. Kung paano ito nag-evolve within a century, kung paano siya tumagal. Then number 6 is the geographic factors approach, which ang geographic is titingnan natin kung saan nagmula itong pulisiyang ito, anong lugar, halimbawa, saang lugar ito na-create, saang lugar ito dumami, for example. So number 7 is the conflict or who won approach. So kung mapapansin niyo, there is a battle between halimbawa Israel and the Palestinians. So yan yung who won approach. So the serendipity approach or accidental discovery approach, so meron tayong mga batas, halimbawa meron tayong mga system, law enforcement, kung saan bigla na lang naisip ng isang nation na maganda itong ipasok, i-instill sa kanilang pamamalakad. So, we also have societal type and police system. So, mayroon tayong sinasabing societal type. So, kung paano nagmumula ang isang police system sa isang komunidad. So, number 1 is folk communal society. It defines as it has little codification of law, no specialization among police, and a system of punishment that just let things go for a while without attention until things become too much, and then harsh and barbaric punishment is resorted to. So ito yung dating tinatawag nating tribal. So wala pang mga batas. Halimbawa na lang sa ating Maranao, naiwan sa atin yung rido na hanggang ngayon hindi pa rin nare-resolve. Hindi naiiwan na pag-ugali. Number 2 is urban commercial society. It has a civil law, specialized police forces, and punishment is inconsistent, sometimes harsh and sometimes lenient. Example nito is sa atin sa Lanao do Sur. Kapag hindi ka nakuha sa batas ng Pilipinas, batas ng Quran, so batas mo na yung masusunod. So we also have urban industrial society. So ang halimbawa nito is sa Iligan City, kung saan mayroong mga companies, businesses na nagpo-produce ng income. So yan yung na mayroon siya ng batas na consistent, maganda. Halimbawa, pamatay ka, so ang batas na ang huhusga para sa iyo, hindi katulad ng sa atin. Okay, number 4 is bureaucratic society, which means pantay-pantay, lahat ng tao is walang mayaman, mahirap. Pag nakagawa ka ng kasalanan, so kung anong punishment is yun ang ibibigay sa iyo. So number 5, we have postmodern society, kung saan yung mga dati nang nakaugalian, halimbawa, so ina-update, ini-innovate, mayroong changes para maging maganda yung pamamalakad. I hope you understand. So there are variable affecting system comparison on police system, urbanization. So ito yung mga factors na makaka-affect sa police system. How we can compare kung ano ba ang mas magandang pamamalakad, halimbawa sa isang urbanization, sa isang rural areas. So as I have said, mayroong mga batas na hindi applicable sa isang komunidad. So, the process of internal migration from the countryside to the cities. So, yun. So, makikita natin kapag yung tao pumunta galing sa isang probinsya, pumunta sa isang lugar, tapos hindi niya alam yung pamamalakad. So, yan yung nakakaapekto. Okay, comparison. Na pagtatanto ng isang tao na magkaiba yung pamamalakad. Okay, we have comparative court system. Mayroon tayong dalawang types ng court systems of the world kung saan ito yung nakagawian na ginagamit. So, ang number 1 is adversarial, where the accused is innocent until proven guilty. So, ito yung kadalasan ginagamit natin kung saan ang ibig sabihin ng adversarial, ang isang accused is innocent hanggat hindi napapatunayan siya ay proven guilty. Siya ay guilty sa isang kaso. Number 2 is inquisitorial, kung saan halimbawa ang isang tao is alam mo naman na alam natin halimbawa na may probable cause pero we cannot determine yet kung pwede ba yung i-justify yung kanyang ginawa. Halimbawa, meron tayong self-defense. So, titingnan natin kung proven innocent or mitigated. O yung kaso niya is pwedeng ibaba ang punishment. So, maraming salamat.